I hate every intro that we've tried to do. We keep forcing it.
I I mean, that's your own fault.
There you go. That works perfectly. It is all my fault. Cue the title card. Very excited for this video today.
Yeah,
Because it's the
are you?
RascCast number 3. And this is technically, if you were watching before we took down all of the original RasCasts, this was actually a thing that Erik came up with that also became something else. And the original idea was Erik's like, we should do like a New Year's resolution and we should try and go through as much of our backlog, which then kind of became an annual thing, which also became, well, we're not going to do our backlogs. We're also going to play newer games and also add that to the list. So that's why the new version of the show is going to be called Backlog and Beyond. Uh, because
He
I think
loves
it
Toy
fits.
Story.
I feel like it fits better because this is more so a show where we just kind of talk about the games we've been beating and if we like them or not. And like some we have more opinions on than others. Um, and I don't even know when the last time we talked about this was April 1st, or the video was up on April 1st,
Mm.
April
That's
Fool's
really
Day, April
that. Yeah,
Fool's Day last year. So it's been
yeah.
a long time. Um, and I know there are a couple games that Erik and I definitely share here that we've beaten, but I'm very interested in knowing some of the stuff that Erik has played because Erik is more down low when it comes to the games that he's beaten versus me. He knows usually when I beat a game. I never know when he beats a game. I just don't know if he does anything. So,
You don't know anything in general, to be fair, so
yeah. So,
can't help him with that. Also,
so
I've been really bad about beating games. That list is not super long, but for it to be over a year since we last talked, you know, that first year. That first year I went a little nuts.
and then I've taken the reins ever since you made it a thing.
Also, I play games that go a little bit slower most of the time, for better or for worse.
Well,
Speaking of, let's talk about my first game. I teased it at the end of the last one. So, but y'all can't watch it now, so you don't even know what the tease was. Um, I also like to put down what day I beat them on, just
mhm.
so I can have a time lapse. I also like to put a little bit of a score, to signify how I felt. I think I gotta change the score on this one though, because it's been almost a year since I beat this one. On July 1st, that's how long it took. It took me 3 months after that video, which is not true because it's technically 4 months because we shot it beforehand. But
True.
um, July 1st last year, I finished Dragon Age of the Veilguard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I gave it a rating of good initially, but thinking about it, it's not good. It's bad, but like I wouldn't say like it's like the worst
Because
thing in the
it's
world.
too woke.
Happy Pride Month. So my biggest problem with the game is that it shouldn't be called Dragon Age. It has nothing to do besides just randomly having characters from the series in there with Dragon Age at all. I think the combat is pretty okay for a BioWare game. You know, I think that the ability of not being able to play as other characters, like you can in pretty much every other BioWare game, is kind of silly. I've watched a couple videos on it too from trans community members, and they're literally just like it's so poorly written that way. And that's just the biggest issue is, you know, the plot sucks, um, especially coming off of Inquisition, because, Solus, turns out to be the big bad dread wolf, big spooky bad guy, and then he gets thrown into a portal, and then you deal with his basically his siblings for a majority of the game. He was the most interesting part, but that's because again, he was a party member in 3 who turned out to be a bad guy. I don't think it's a good game, but I don't think again like it destroyed video games at all. I just think people took it out of proportion and, you know, are more focused on other issues than anything else. That's all I'll say on that.
Hmm.
That's all I'll have last to say on that. All right, moving on. This is the game that Brian and I both beat, and we had a good time with it, but it was a bit of a disappointment for me because it's from a franchise that I've knowingly loved dearly. And now, who knows when I'll even go on to the next installment of it. Hell, I haven't even gone off to the spin-off series of it yet. Borderlands 3, we beat this on August 31st. I thought it was good still. Like, I think there are a lot of cool aspects to it. I think that the going to different planets was kind of interesting in a sense because it's like, oh hey, you're not on Pandora the entire time. You get to explore in a sense. However, I think that there are some planets that are just strictly linear in
Hmm.
design. I think when you think of aspects from like, oh, Pandora is like this old vast world and it's got different areas to explore. I think that's cool, but then you go to these other different places and it's like, okay, straight line to where you need to go, do your thing and get out. This idea that they keep upping each game with, the different types of guns, how many more bajillion guns can we add? Um, I think that does put a little bit of a deficit on it, mainly because a lot of the guns feel the same no matter what you do. I also think that like they undermined a lot of the characters as well. They're just like they're there, they're here, cool. Okay, bye. Next month, another month later, on September
Let,
30th.
let me tell you right, let me tell you right now, the amount of games I have from my first game to Borderlands 3 is like 15 or like 18 compared to just going straight to Borderlands 3.
So what we're learning here, folks, is that Brian doesn't have a social life. Cool. Uh,
Hmm. Who?
who knew? Brian did. But this one again was quick because it was a racing game, and it was a fun little time. Not like that. No, it was in a car. So try again. There you go. That's more like it. Oh yeah. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. I think it's great. It's one of my favorite racers of all time, personally. There's no plot. Don't worry about that. They don't need to explain the plot. The customization is really cool. I liked how, each car set has its own unique style. I like how they brought back the airboards from the Sonic Riders games. I like that they even brought back the characters from those. Probably better than Mario Kart that came out last year. The fact that I literally bought the Switch to get it for free to never touch it says a lot. Moving on, to November because fucking October I did shit apparently. But hey, I did a back to back though. November 22nd, right before Thanksgivmas. I finished Dispatch. But that's also because the game, I waited for all the episodes to come out. So here we are with that. Yeah, Dispatch uh, from Ad Hoc. I'm going to have this discussion later about what do we consider as a video game when we get to a certain game. Ryan and I both have, we'll talk about it.
Oh.
But I think this is a game in the sense that, it's the genuine Telltale style of game. Besides the being able to walk around and interact with the environment, that was pretty much my only big deficit. People complained about that part of the Telltale games. It's like, oh man, this is just padding the pad stuff to like learn about the environment. I'm like, yeah, but I'm learning about the world. I'm getting interested in things like that. Whereas with Dispatch, they just cut that out. All it is dialogue choices and the actual Dispatch game, which the actual Dispatch mini game, as I like to call it, is really fun because you get your set of heroes and you get the missions to pop up, and you're like, okay, I think this hero is going to be good for this mission because of X, Y, and Z. They have a whole bunch of different stat wheels, and you go nuts. And of course, you can also decide how many heroes do I send because you can sometimes send more than one hero for a mission. Definitely don't play it on Switch 2 because they censor the fuck out of everything. However, I did find out that there is a funny censorship mode on Dispatch 2 where they just do to whatever the fuck they want with the censorship, but without, breaking their censorship. So, if you haven't found out about that, check that out. It's very interesting. It's very interesting because I'm assuming that ad hoc, you know, they kind of got screwed over when they were porting it to Switch because Nintendo, for some reason, wanted to do that. I don't know why, because they've put out M-rated games beforehand that do a whole lot worse, probably. But 2 days later, so hey, I'm doing better. I'm beating games kind of back to back. Uh, uh, but yeah, November 24th, I kind of I went back to a franchise that I've already covered in this, which is saying a lot because I've only covered 4 games so far, but it's another Sonic game. So hey, listen. I beat Sonic Unleashed. Brian, Sonic Unleashed. Which game is that?
Is that like the weird one where they all have like long legs and arms and shit like that? No, that's not that one, is it?
No, no, you're thinking of Sonic Boom. That's on the Wii U exclusively. That game you're thinking of, and I don't own a Wii U. As much as I would like to own a Wii U, I don't own a Wii U. No, this is the game where he turns into a werewolf.
Oh.
It's a bad game. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world. Like I think I played this over Dragon Age of the Veilguard anytime. I think the plot's kind of interesting. When it comes to like Sonic lore, because now it talks about fucking gods living inside of the planet, and so it's like, because the whole thing is at the beginning of the game, uh, Eggman beats you and he absorbs your power from the Chaos Emeralds from Supersonic, and then blows up the fucking planet so that he can build his theme park. Speaking of that in a second, but so and then it unleashes this fucking god, and then you become best friends with the fucking protector of the planet. That sealed away the god inside the planet. And you're like, hold on a second, this is just so fucking weird for a Sonic game. I think it's cool, but yeah. Going back to fucking amusement park, that's the last stage before the final boss. My playthrough of that level took me nearly 30 minutes, and that's normal for that stage, Brian. That's normal. I do think it's cool because you switch between Sonic and the Werehog, but also it's like this is too fucking long. It was just that weird time in Sonic's life that was like, oof. I will say this though, um, Sega is pretty ballsy, not ballsy, but like pretty cool. You can only they only have available the Xbox 360 version. However, it is upgraded with Series X in mind, so the game does go up to a nice 1080p 60 frames per second. So the game looks gorgeous. We are expediting 33 times in a row. I beat this on December 1st. So I actually was kind of busy. I was kind of busy. Now, genuinely, I do think this game is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I talk about it a little bit on the Godcast. I just don't think it's like groundbreaking is all. Like you can still be amazing and you know, retread ideas from other games that not a lot of people would play. And that's okay because like your whole idea with your game to do this is to, you know, get people interested more into that type of shit. I mean, how many more people are going to be playing JRPGs? Overall, great time. Definitely take a look. Almost at the end of the month, so it took a little bit, but that's because, we had to put out a video on this, and then I ended up beating it on December 28th. Bollocks Pit. Good time. It's a good game. Fun time. Simple idea, nice little run throughs, you're throwing balls, you go into a pit. What more can you ask for? Uh, moving on. they'll just move on because it's another game that Brian and I beat. Like literally like a week later, it feels like January 4th, Cosmic Invasion. It's a good game, fun time, beat 'em up. I mean, I don't think like the stage designs are perfectly like executed like 100% well compared to like other beat 'em ups. I did think I liked the TMNT one that we did a couple years ago. I think I liked that one more.
Hmm.
Um, but I think it's fun. I mean, each character has a different play style, which I think is cool. A couple weeks later from that, January 18th, I beat a little game called Hades 2. I think it's amazing. I talk about it more in the Gotti cast, so I won't talk about it too much here. Here's Hades 1, and then here's just Hades 2. Like getting that bar raised, but exponentially higher. Just doing different things, letting you be able to do different paths, letting you invest in the world even more, learn more about these characters, learn more about this world they've been building up, even though it's Greek mythology. So, what more do you have to build up from Greek mythology? Says a lot. Amazing game. Take a look. Take a look at this. Except we didn't do it. Take a look at this. Anyway, May 4th, 2026. Yeah, happy Star Wars Day. What better game to beat than Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic?
Okay.
One. Yes. So it took me a little bit to beat this one. Um, I think this game is amazing. And then I have in parentheses something I'll say in a second because it's really fucking funny. Um, Genuinely coming off of like just being in my own mindset of like I really want to play a good Star Wars game. And I've had KOTOR on my PC, and I also own it on the original Xbox. And of course, that was one of the big things when they announced backwards compatibility. Oh hey, we're gonna get some really cool games, and one of the big ones was KOTOR. Hell, it was on Game Pass for the longest time, and then they took it off for some reason. It's never come back since. I don't ask me why. It's an EA game. You think it'd be on fucking EA Plus or whatever the fuck it's called, EA Origins, EA
Play.
wants your yeah, that. I don't know why I've struggled playing it on my on Steam, mainly because the game wants to play at like a smaller aspect ratio. So like imagine like you take my portion of the screen right now on this video, that's how big of the screen you're basically playing the game on for some reason. You have to adjust it in the settings, and when you do, it kind of like stretches out the visuals in a poor way. So when I got a copy of it on Xbox, I have the greatest hits version, so it's in that terrible silver border with like the game cover cut out. I don't know why Xbox did that. It's so fucking weird. Um, but no, he's running to grab his copy. Ooh, look at him. Um, But yeah, so I decided to play on Xbox and much better. Uh,
There we
look at
go.
that. That's what it should look like.
Yeah, buddy.
Um, so I played it on Xbox and it doesn't have that problem of stretching out on the screen. Why? I don't know. Don't ask me questions. They just made it work. I'm playing it on my fucking HD TV and it looks great. Now they don't raise like the frame rates or shit, and like of course the models still look like they came out of fucking 2003. The game just works though. Like it genuinely is that classic BioWare style for someone that's never played the game before. I mean, I know what the plot was, but like speaking from an aspect of someone who's never like fully like played the plot before, I think it's so interesting. I think the developments you learn about, you know, your characters that you get on the ship, I think are really cool. Um, I wouldn't say there's a lot of choice aspects like a normal BioWare game is nowadays. I say nowadays, but like, you know, technically nowadays, Veilguard. You get one big choice in a sense, and that one big choice, is really cool. Um, I went with the cool one, of course. You're playing a Star Wars game. Of course, I'm going to do the dark side path. I won't say what that really means for anyone who hasn't played it, but it's one of the coolest twists in fucking video game history that you're like, oh, hold on a second here. Now let me get to my big asterisk, parentheses, whatever the fuck I want to put it as. Uh, this game plays like a game that came out of 2003, so you need to save it every fucking second of your life. Otherwise, you're gonna kill yourself because you're gonna have to backtrack fucking an hour of your life if you're not careful. Because oh my god, the deaths in this game sometimes can be super brutal. Also, the last area of the game sucks ass. I'm gonna say it.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. There's a section in the last part of the mission, no matter if you play light side or dark side, that there's these robots that you have to like kill, but then you also have to security check to stop the robots from respawning. However, to get access to it, if you don't have a high enough security level, you have to consistently kill these fuckers. And it took me probably about a half hour to do because my security level was not high enough because I have party members to do that shit for me. Also, the final boss, Darth Malik, let's be real, you knew he was the final boss. You see him on the fucking cover. He's cool as shit. I'll say that jaw piece, when you find out about that jaw piece, why it looks like that is really fucking cool as well. However, his final boss sucks ass because literally, if you don't know what you're doing right away, you're gonna be in fucking hell. It was a lot of running around when it's your traditional standstill RPG, take turns type of motive. And there's moments where you need to stop the combat to go fucking run around the map and do shit, and then hope to God that you do it. Also, he is buffed as shit for some reason in this fight. I don't know, maybe it's because you are just fighting him by yourself and you don't have other party members with you. Um, I don't have a lot of party members to begin with because of the dark side path. So, to each their own. Let there be light. On May 16th, I beat Mixtape. This is what we were talking about when it came to games that kind of just play themselves. This one doesn't. You guys are fucking idiots. But it's also not a 10 out of 10. It's fine. It's good. Whatever. I hate the main character. Probably say more when Brian talks about it. But
Yeah.
all I'll say is like, just calm down. Just calm down. Now, if it gets nominated for Game of the Year, we can have a discussion then about like
Hmm.
what the fuck are we thinking. But just calm down. Next up, we actually have a fighting game. It's one of the only fighting game I played this last session. Um, Mainly because like I really haven't had too many fighting games to really get into, I guess. But hey, I picked it up because it was pretty cheap. As in it released pretty cheap because it's a $50 game. Invincible Versus. I think it's a good fighting game. I think it's cool that we have a new fighting game in the genre. A 3v3. And you can mix and match. Every hero plays completely different. There is a story mode to it. It is a fighting game story mode. It takes an hour and a half to beat. Let's be real. That's pretty much all story modes in fighting games. They take like 2 hours to beat, and it's like whatever. The arcade mode is pretty fun. I like that they have different levels of arcade mode. So if you just want to do it quickly, here's one that lasts like 5 rounds. Or if you want to go all out and want to brutally beat yourself, you can play the arcade mode that lasts 13 rounds and your health doesn't recover between rounds. Up the difficulty a little bit. Have some fun with it. Brian, we're on to my final game.
No.
I know. The last game I beat was a month ago. I haven't beaten anything else.
My
To be
last game has also been like it's been a little bit too since. So
and this one did take me a little bit as well, but not in the RPG style, more so in the oh hey, we're kind of like Telltale. We're like the poor man. We're the poor man's Telltale. We put out one good game, and then we put out a bunch of stuff. It's a hit or miss type of thing. Casting of Frank Stone from the world of Dead by Daylight.
Ended up playing this. Okay. Well, I already know kind of what your opinion is, but I'm interested in knowing like your experience playing it.
It's a bad game.
Well, yeah, that.
Oh my God. Oh, I think all the characters are pretty much uninteresting. I didn't think anything was terrible that I played this year. I think this was probably the closest to something that I just genuinely didn't like. I think the plot is all over the fucking place. The best parts of the game are when you're back in the 80s because they're trying to shoot a movie, and then there's the big bad. I don't even care about spoiling this fucking shit. The big bad of this game is a woman named Augustine, and so she travels through time to different dimensions as well because she's trying to get this killer to give to the entity because this is Dead by Daylight fucking lore. And Dead by Daylight lore can be really interesting, but this game fucking makes it sound so contrived and so all over the place, and you have no idea what the fuck they're doing. But the entity is this all powerful beings, the one that basically picks like the killers and survivors that go into the fucking trials. Uh, so this woman's trying to make her killer Frank Stone. Now, in the 60s, you stop Frank Stone, or you potentially don't, based on if you just decide not to play the game, which you can do because it's to get the platinum, which I did because the platinum is not hard, it's just tedious to get. I'll, I'll say about that, but you can literally just put down the controller and miss all the quick time prompts and let that happen. But you stop Frank Stone, so he fucking dies, but in reality, he doesn't die because, like, he basically becomes like this ghost thing, like this spirit thing, and like you use a camera to like get him back from me. It's like this it's a film camera that like basically is like sucking his soul into it. And basically her whole plan is to go to different dimensions of this movie that's being shot um to get the truest form of Frank Stone. And Frank Stone's in the game for probably like 15 minutes in total of this like 6 hour experience. And then you're traveling between the 80s to the present, which in the present would be 2024. They acknowledge the year that the game came out, so it'll date itself in about 5 years. And then uh, you make choices and you try to get characters to stay alive and things like that. And then your choices matter. Who gives a shit, man? They've been trying to do this hype train since Until Dawn for the longest time, and they've just never gotten it to the point where they're not even doing the sequel to Until Dawn anymore. It's some fucking other studio,
Yeah, because
which is
they just
crazy to.
did the it was like a space one, right? And it was the lady who was in Captain Marvel and the last Bond movie. I think she's
Yeah,
in it. And it's like directive something like that.
yeah, and I've heard mixed things about it. I don't care enough
I love the fact that I think this is the most animated you've been about any of these games so far. And
because
the fact that it's
genuinely,
such a shit game because it's your one of your favorite franchises that you also hate, but you love it.
I mean, it's their first spin-off game that they've done for this universe, and they've pretty much canceled every other fucking spin-off game except for one that's on Steam that's like five. No, that's not true. There's three spin-off games. There's this, there is Hooked on You, the dating simulator, which is just a meme. And then yes, this exists. There's a Dead by Daylight dating simulator. It is just a visual novel. Um, and then there is this other horde-based game that's like cutesy, but no one played it. It's like $5 on Steam, and they don't support the game whatsoever. But this is the most Dead by Daylight you get out of a game besides Dead by Daylight, and it's just so monotonous. You just literally like, I don't give a shit about these characters. I don't understand how like a game that made or a game company that's made very interesting characters in the past can just make characters that you are fodder. Like, and I get it. You should have in a horror movie, you should have the fodder characters and be like, oh, I can't wait for this person to die. I hate them so much, but in the sense that like, oh my God, when they get their comeuppance, when they get killed, it's gonna be great. And literally the whole time I'm just like, ah, man, end it, end me, please. Bad game. Supermassive hasn't. I don't know. I haven't played the space game. I haven't played any other game besides Man of Medan.
It's okay because Eric wanted to have a book report on his like 10 games. I have 37. So we're just gonna go as quickly. Well, I have ones I want to talk about a lot, but I think this is a good alley oop because Eric talked about
13, Brian. 13
Oh,
games.
okay.
Fuck
Because
you.
Eric had a franchise he loves to talk about. I have a franchise I love to talk about. Halo Wars 2 opens this up. I've been meaning to play this game, and it definitely feels more like an RTS than the original. The original definitely just felt like a simple RTS, but with Halo. This story I could care less for, but as an RTS, I actually think it's pretty solid. Each mission has a very big, kind of different mechanic that it wants to do. It was cool. Cool time. Second game, which will be one of the first times that I'm gonna do a yeah, great Microsoft reaction because it's South of Midnight. Um,
How ironic.
Microsoft. Uh, this was a runner-up from last year. Basically, I'll just repeat what I said in that video, which is Compulsion. I think swing for the fences every time. They have way too many big ideas. Their games are never great, but they always have a lot of interesting ideas. Here, they make a great game where the visual and the story is very well done, but the combat's simple. And I think that's okay. I think it's a great game. I think you should go play it. Fuck all the black woman. Yeah, it's a good fucking game. So go play it.
As I said, the only compulsion game I've played is the fucking mime game.
And then I played We Happy Few. So Um, next game, Diablo 4. This was a game that I actually had as a runner-up in 2023. I played a lot of it at that time, but I never beat it fully, the story. It was good. It was cool. I want to play the DLCs. It's a solid action RPG, and I know the Diablo 2 not remastered, but whatever they did with that is on Game Pass now, and I heard that's actually a really, really good game. And that's like one of those like iconic games you should play. Next, Sifu, the roguelike kung fu game. Uh it was cool. I actually thought the best part of the game is the replayability. So the gimmick is you're either young and you have a lot of health, but you have no experience, or as you die more, you get older, you have less health, but you have more experience and better stuff. And
That's what happens when you age, folks. You die and then
it
you
just
get
comes back.
older.
Yeah. And but like as you replay the game, there's like new things that you can do and new challenges and new things to unlock in other levels. So I actually thought that was kind of cool. And there's like a whole different ending because of that. And there's some like kind of secret stuff in there too. So I thought it was really cool. It was a fun, like I wasn't expecting it to be as, I don't want to say easy, but it was not as difficult as as the game seemed initially.
You thought you were gonna get to fucking 100 years old and be like, I finally beat it.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, you're actually like 26.
Well, speaking of dying, my next game involves sending someone to their grave. It's called Chariot. This was a game I had forever. It was a game with gold when that was a thing, and you could play it by yourself. But I played it with Jade, and it wasn't a frustrating experience at all. And we loved the entire thing, and I didn't get mad at her, and she didn't get mad at me. But the whole gimmick of the game is you are the two children of a king who passes and he wants to find a burial for himself. But the whole gimmick of it is it's a platformer, but you're both like hooked onto his casket. And so there's a lot of craziness into it's like a cartoony game. It's not that serious. Um, but
I
it's
can
and
only imagine it.
He talks to you too. His spirit guides you. But it was just kind of a weird game that I always had, and I'm like, I just want to play this. And I enjoyed it because it was very unique for what it was.
And you said the perfect person to play it with is my girlfriend.
Yes. Next game, Dredge, resource sim game. I thought this was really cool. I heard a lot of things about it. I did not play the DLC. That will be a thing that I bring up with some other games, because Erik brought it up as well. Um, there are some games that I did like the DLCs and whatnot. I did not get to the DLCs for the game, but I did play the base game. I really enjoyed it. It was exactly what I thought. It was creepy, it was spooky, it was mysterious, but it was a resource sim, and you upgrade your boat and you discover the mystery. And I think the ending is really weird and interesting. And I think if y'all haven't played it, you should definitely check it out. There's a game that is down the list that reminded me a lot of this, but I actually think this was a lot better in terms of like a mystery and all that. Next game, as Erik joked about with his Sonic game, I had a racing game that doesn't have a story, but I quote unquote beat it too. Forza Horizon 5. It's a great game. Great game. I did all the main story missions, and then I did like the barn finds, and I try to complete like a lot of that stuff. It's a good game. I'm on Forza Horizon 6. It's not on the list right now, but
Yeah,
I'm playing that right now. And we just did a Lazy Sunday for that, so you can check that out.
yeah, check it out. Montez
Um,
was in there.
another another game that I beat, which you should also check this video out for, because I actually did. It was our first foray into reviews.
Foreplay.
Doom, the Dark Ages. Just check out my review. I liked it. Spoiler slash little tease. I will be trying to do a review of the DLC when it comes out. At the
How's that a spoiler?
I mean, it's just like a little surprise. It's just me saying that I'm going to do a
You
review of the DLC, and I like Doom the Dark
Spoiler
Age.
alert, I'm
Go check
giving
it
you
out.
content.
Whatever. Next game, The Plucky Squire, Devolver Digital, a company that Erik and I really like. We like to talk about. They're always putting out some really interesting, unique games. This one is about a kid who writes a character called the Plucky Squire. And the whole gimmick of the game is the villain in the game leaves the book and says, I'm going to change history and you're not going to be the Plucky Squire anymore. And it affects like the real world. So, the,
Shit. He's
yeah.
gonna become Hitler?
Yeah, fuck, man, it's crazy. So the whole gimmick of the game is you can leave the book and it becomes a 3D game. So it's beautiful illustration, 2D. You go through the book, it has like a fun animation where every time you go to a new page, it flips. But then you come out of the book and there's stuff to do in the 3D world, puzzles, you have to get supplies, but you can also go out of the book, flip back a couple pages to where you were, go back into it to get a thing to then come back. It's actually really unique and clever. And I thoroughly enjoyed my time. It has a lot of the tropes in games like this, but I think this is one of those games where if you can check it out, do it because I think it is one of the more unique games. And genuinely, and this will probably be something I bring up with a lot of the indies that I played, gorgeous. Like the art style is so cool. Um, the next two games, I will have a little more to say. They're both in a series. They're in a series that I like a lot more than Erik does. And I was going to wait to play these games with him because I've always played them co-op because that was always how it was meant. But I know he doesn't want to play these games. So it's okay. I dove in myself. And guess what? You're not missing anything. Spoiler alert. Gears of War 4 and
Yep.
Gears 5 because
Yep.
it's not Gears of War 5.
Nope,
It's
that doesn't
Gears
exist.
5. It's Gears 5. So, my general opinion on these. So, I did not understand. So this series, in a way, is kind of the opposite of what happened when 343 took over Halo. Xbox had this bright idea. Let's just have a company make one game because Epic did not care about Gears of War after Judgment, or because I think People Can Fly made that game, or maybe Epic did. I don't know, but the spin-off game. But it was the same thing with Halo. They were like, you either can do Halo 4 or do Halo Reach, and they decided to do Halo Reach. Bungie said, okay, fine, take it, go, we're done, whatever. Um, so the fourth games tend to be a little more safe, and then the fifth games go in a completely different direction. I think Gears 5 is a much better game than Halo 5. And I'll get into why.
What? No.
The number one thing that is not good for is its story. The gimmick here is it's one of those, so all this time has passed. The locusts are gone. Spoiler, they're back again. What?
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 No.
So
No.
you play the son of Marcus Phoenix, who thankfully they have you not play as in the fifth game. You take over as Kat Diaz in the fifth game, who is Laura Bailey, and then there's another guy in the group. I don't know. But so good thing is they changed it because she is a lot more interesting of a character. But the whole story is like the government's trying to like cover up a lot of shit and they don't want people to go out of their villages. And honestly, I see what they're doing, but Eric, the first half of Gears of War 4 is you're killing robots. I'm not joking. They are robots that the government controls because they don't want you going to all these areas. And
The
then they
government
blow
doesn't
up
want you
Marcus's
outside.
house. Marcus shows up. I actually think them bringing all the old characters back, in a lot of this shit where they go back to the old characters in all types of media, it's either good or it's bad. I actually think it's not bad. It's not over the top. It's kind of fun. When Cole shows up at the end of Gears 4, it's actually kind of fun to hear him again, all the original voice cast, because it's not like, oh my God, look, it's Cole. It's just like he's there. Like Marcus, that literally at the end of the game, Marcus is like, we need to call up some people. And I'm like, I know what that means. And they all show up and it's like a lot of fun. Again, I think the fifth game is way better in terms of a structure. I story wise, it's more interesting, but I still don't care about it. But the one thing about the fifth game that they do, which I kind of like, but I also don't, is it does the Metro Exodus thing. There's a couple. So the first act of the game, you're still playing as JD. Something happens where you think he's dead, his face fucking blows up or something. I don't remember. But then you take
It
over
doesn't
his
matter.
cat, and there's two acts of the game where it's like an open map. So there's like side missions you can do, and it's not again like Metro Exodus I've talked about. It's not over the top. It's not like here's 50 things to do,
Not
but
over the top, but it's not under the top.
yes. So I thought it's unique in that regard. I do think Gears 5 is much better. I did play the DLC that was also on. It's called like Hive Busters, and it's like a short little campaign look. I'm excited for Gears of War E-Day. I'm hoping it's kind of more of what that series is. I've told Eric before, I don't like the series because it's the most well written. I like it just because the characters are good. I like the history. I like the world building, and I think the gunplay is really cool. It's not anything more than that, but that's why the Gears games work because their brotherhood is so cool. These three characters are just like it's nothing. And it's just so like, and again, I could see a different version of this working well, but it doesn't. But like when I started playing the beginning of Gears of War 4, I'm like, this is what this is. I'm shooting at fucking mech robots. This is all I'm doing. Oh
I
my
guess I'll kill
God.
myself now.
Yeah. But speaking of wanting to kill myself, here comes let's get into it, Eric.
Oh boy.
One of the most hotly debated games since it came out 6 years ago, The Last of Us Part 2. I played it. I beat
He,
it.
he did it.
And
He did.
it's not a good game. No, it's not a good game.
He's saying it, folks.
So Eric and I are not idiots. We are and we're
Last time I
not.
checked.
Um, all this bullshit about why people hate this game makes me want to rip my skin off. The Joel thing and from the whole Abby shit, I look at it in a whole nother context. So I avoided this game for so long because of the whole perception on it, and mainly because I love the first game so much. And when I heard the things about this game, I was like, oh God. And I watched a lot of different video essays. So, of course, I'm like, oh, great. Now I have all these perceptions in my head. So, when I finally played it, I got a couple different things from it. Number one, Neil Druckmann really thinks he's like a fucking genius. Like, he just thinks he is such a smartass. And, like, look at how intelligent I am. He, there are so many things about this game that actually creep me out knowing it came from him. Like, you see Abby, and Abby's like the anti-woman. Man, she's so big and buff and ugly. And I'm like, this is Neil Druckmann probably thinking he's so like, look at me. and it was like kind of disgusting. Shocking part though, all the Abby stuff is actually the part of the game that that really saved this from being a terrible game. Ellie is so the whole concept of the story. The first game is not a groundbreaking game. It is a very generic game. It hits every fucking trope. The reason why the game is so good is not the story and not the sequence of events. It's the way it is written, the way the characters interact, the fact that when fucking Sam and Henry die, you know exactly what's going to happen, and yet it hits. And I'm even getting choked up thinking about it. It hits because it's so well crafted that you know it's going to happen. You kind of forget about it. And then when it does, you're like, oh my God, what the fuck? No. That's why that game is so brilliant. And the destination is also good because it speaks on the entire game and what that actual story becomes. It's a surrogate story for Joel and Ellie, and he's finding a new daughter in her, and how scummy of a person he is to just be like, fuck humanity. I want her as my daughter now. That just goes out the window in this game. I don't care that Joel gets killed, spoiler. I don't care that Joel gets killed at the beginning. The problem with the game is it's a generic revenge story with nothing nuanced about it. The Ellie stuff, every character around Ellie sucks. Everybody is just the worst character. The Abby stuff, while is not great, it is typical, but it throws in the whole storyline where she meets with, and I don't know what their name is, but it's like the people that live in the wild and they just use the bow and arrows and stuff. That stuff was intriguing because it was unique. You also want to know another thing Neil Druckmann feels bold about? He wants to say trans lives matter because that is also the main kind of conduit of Abby. One of the kids that she has to kind of rescue with. She got kicked out of her tribe, or I believe it's she thinks that they are a man and they want to transition, and it's a trans allegory. And I'm just again sitting there like, wow, Neil, you're so brave, and you're look at me, um, but there's a lot of really cool stuff in that section. And then, dude, at this point, I'm like, okay, you know what? This game's not great. Ellie stuff, blah. Abby stuff, okay. The final 15-20% of this game is some of the most nihilistic. We are gonna force you to feel something, even though we gave you no control. Because that's the problem with this game. The ending wants to say violence bad, feel bad, but you don't get control. It's a forced single player game that tells you what to do. They are telling you the path that you have to go on. And at the end of the game, you have to get to a part where Abby gets kidnapped. You're thinking, okay, oh, she's kidnapped. Then Ellie has to go find her. She goes through all this trauma. You rescue her. Then it's, nope, we're going to kill her now. Nope, never mind. Violence is bad. I'm like, dude, this is just so fucking stupid. Like, are you fucking joking me? And then, like, I felt some kind of way when people were saying, if you really look at it, it is very obviously a Israeli Palestinian like allegory, and that made me even say fuck you more to the game. So it's like that also was a whole thing, fucking Neil Druckmann. But like it is so disappointing because when I finally played the game and I got my sense of like what made the game so bad, I'm like, again, it's none of this stupid shit that any of these fucking incel motherfuckers want to complain about. It's literally the fact that it's such a elementary school take on violence and revenge, and it's in a game that really is not that updated. The thing about the first Last of Us, it's not a well put together game. Not to say it's like a broken game, but the combat and the and all that, it's not amazing. It's not Uncharted amazing like a third person shooter. It's kind of janky. It barely changes in this game. It's kind of the same thing. It looks really gorgeous, but it's like the whole game is like, Okay, revenge. Nope, never mind. Revenge is bad. No, actually, revenge is good. Oh no, it's bad again. Oh no, it's good. Nope, it's bad again. Am I proud that I have beaten it? Sort of, because it gave me a perspective on the whole thing that makes me like understand more. But it is a very nuanced hate. It's not an obvious, wow, this game is really bad. It's so much deeper than that, but I don't know.
Never do.
But you know what? I do know my opinion on Clear Obscure Expedition 33, the game that I told Eric when it first was announced or when they were first showing off. I'm like, yeah, this looks like a game you would play. And then I fucking played it and beat it before he did. I agree with a lot of what Eric said. My thing is, I see why people dug it. I just didn't really connect to the story as much as other people did. I do think, though, this is one of those things where I really hope this opens the floodgates for people to check out JRPGs because I think that's why it's so popular. It's because it's not the most groundbreaking JRPG. It's the fact that it's a JRPG light that does something that I've never seen in this sort of game that made me excited to play it. And so I hope that brings people into that genre because I could see why people because again it's like a little taste of what that genre can bring because it's not overly long like Persona 5, like it's an easier game to kind of get through and digest. um
Wow, Brian giving love to JRPGs. I never
yeah.
thought I'd see the day.
Spray Paint Simulator, I beat every map. It doesn't have co-op story, and it's not on Game Pass, so we're just never gonna play it anymore. But I don't think Eric cared anymore. Okay, next two games I'm gonna talk about in tandem with each other: Fallout New Vegas and its DLCs, as well as the Fallout 4 DLCs. I infamously stopped playing Fallout New Vegas way back in the day because
Because
I
he's
did not
Bush.
like it. Uh,
Not
and here's my thing. I still feel the same way. However, I commend what the game is because I get why people love it. I just don't care enough. None of the choices in that regard really interested me that much. Like, I didn't care that much about the story. I can understand why, like, in that regard, people are like, well, yeah, you have a lot of different things you can do. I get it. I think DLC wise is kind of the same way. I see the potential. I think the last two were the best ones. The one when you're on like the fucking science experiment like
Yep.
place or whatever, that one's really,
Old World Blues,
yeah,
baby.
it's quirky and weird. And then Lonesome Road, I believe, was the last one. I thought that was kind of interesting and unique, where there's the courier who's tracking you and you have that whole dynamic. I really like that as well. Fallout 4 DLC is basically what I expected from what Eric told me. The Assaultron DLC was kind of cool. Speaking of trans allegories, we had Far Harbor, which shockingly I was like kind of annoyed with because I said, wow, I wish they went more into that. Because that, like, speaking of, here's the thing. As much as I made the joke about The Last of Us Part 2, it was more of a Neil Druckmann thing. I actually thought it was fine for what it was. This, however, when it started, my initial reaction was like, oh, okay, I get it. But then it actually kind of blew me away. Like it was so fascinating. It felt a lot shorter than I wanted it to be, though. That was the problem. It went a
Mhm.
lot quicker than I wanted it to do. And then Nuka World kind of was upsetting because it's literally like it's kind of like a demo. The whole DLC is a demo, and then at the end they go, so now everything you learned in this demo, go do in the actual game. And I was like, I don't want to though. I don't want to set up raider camps. I thought that, huh? I mean, the story stuff, like that was the biggest disappointment. I thought the whole time I was in Nuka World, I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then they're like, okay, so now go do all this. I went, no, no. I don't though. I don't want to. I
I
don't
don't
want
want
to.
to actually.
I don't want to. So there's that. Speaking of DLC, once again, it feels like it takes forever for me to get to when you talk about Borderlands 3 and the DLC. I once again share kind of most of the same opinions. I will say I think the DLC was a lot more interesting than the game, which is something I'll bring up in a game down the road. I think the bank robbing one or something like that. The first one we played, that was really cool. Like the DLCs were a lot more interesting. The writing was still kind of annoying, but I thought the DLCs were a lot more interesting than the main story was. Um, Now we're going back. See, listen, Metal Gear's never gonna get done. I've already accepted it. But you know what PlayStation series that I get done? So spoiler
Oh
for
God.
that. Sly Koopa, baby. So I did Sly 2, Band of Thieves. It is much better than the first game, and I liked it. It was fun. It's a great game. I have a lot of opinions about this game as I do another furry creature from Sony that's now not a Sony thing, but it is still. But we'll get to that in a bit. Ball X Pit, as Erik brought up, loved it, had a lot of fun. I They've been putting out free updates, so I've been meaning to go back and see if any of those updates are worth my time. They put out a few of them now at this point. Um, Back to fuck Microsoft, my next game, which I did a multi-part playthrough of on my channel, Keeper, on channel BK. This is one of those games that the first third is kind of okay, and then the second third is like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool, and then the final third of the game is like, whoa, this is
Oh.
wild. Yeah, you should keep these kind of studios around because they put out interesting fucking shit. But I guess I don't understand any of that. And then the next two games are follow up because obviously there had to be a little break, I guess, from Sly Cooper 2. Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves, and Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. The third one was literally the second game almost to a T, but it was cool. And the fourth one, which infamously was not done by Sucker Punch, they were dealing with like electricity or something. I don't know what they were doing at that time. Um, do you get that reference? Is
I
that
wasn't paying attention. What?
okay? Anyways, fuck you. And it reminded me a lot of Crash Bandicoot 4, where I shockingly kind of liked it. I can get why people didn't like it. Some of the art style choices in it were very weird and like it was like kind of weird to see like an HD version of Sly Cooper. It's like, oh, oh my God. And then the whole like ending, and we've never gotten like a conclusion to it, and they just haven't done a Sly Cooper 5. Personally really liked it. I thought the mini games were cool. I thought the whole again, it literally felt like the same game as Crash Bandicoot 4 because in that game it's all the different time mechanics. This it's all the thieves in time and you
Mhm.
do all that stuff. So it reminded me a lot of that, but I still really liked it. Um Again, going to quality games, it's back, baby. Ponzi scheme alert. Power Wash Simulator 2. I was just too antsy. Um but I told Erik we should do a lazy Sunday at some point because I mean the government's watching. It's not a Ponzi scheme.
No, no.
I loved it. I love the first one. I love this one. It's a great chill time. Next game is a game that was apparently like a thing for so long, and then it finally came out, and apparently people didn't like it because it was a huge pain in the ass, and so that's why I had a little help playing it with a guide. Routine. I'm thinking it's still on Game Pass. It's a very creepy sci-fi game where the whole idea is it has kind of like an old VHS aesthetic. You're on the space station and you just got to do stuff. And a lot of it, you use this like tool that will turn things on and off. And then there's creepy things that come out the corners and they go oogity boogity and they try to eat you. It's kind of scary, but it was cool. It was fun. I like the way that it looked was really cool. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, literally same opinion. I think TMNT was a lot better. The final boss was underwhelming to me. Other than that, was cool game, cool beat 'em up. Um, banana. Donkey Kong Bonanza. I fucking love this game. I loved it and hated it for the same reasons that I loved Mario Odyssey. There's things about that game that are much better than Donkey Kong, and there's things that are much worse. So clearly you didn't bring this game up. So you have not beaten it, no?
No.
I will just say that the finale of the game, for as stupid of a game as it is, because it doesn't matter, let's just say the
None of
whole
these
game,
games matter. They're video
let's
games.
just say the whole game, you're dealing with a villain. You get to the ending, and then literally the last half an hour of the game, they go, actually, no, here's the actual villain. And that kind of annoyed me. But other than that, it's a
Monkey.
great game. Uh,
Monkey.
yeah, it was pretty fun. And I thought the puzzles were cool. And I actually did the whole like once the game was over, I did all the extra challenges that you have to do because those unlock after you beat the game. Um,
And then you
now we're
paid the
getting
$20 DLC.
I have not gotten that though. I have debated because I have heard mixed things on it. So I was like, I'll wait. Next game. Sword of the Sea. This was a runner-up for me. I think this game is gorgeous. I think the music's incredible. Definitely play it if you have PlayStation. It's still on PlayStation Plus. I want to go back and try and do a 100% run through because there's a couple things I've forgotten to get, and I want to do the speed run trophy. It's very meditative, and I'm like, again, last year was the year of games like that for me. Um, I talked about Dredge, and this was a game that when it ended up coming to Game Pass, I said, okay, I think I'll have more time to play it. And it reminds me a lot of it. It's called Pacific Drive. It is a very unique roguelike game where the whole concept is it's in like the 90s. You show up in this weird zone in Washington State and all these people go on the radio and they go, "Hey man, what are you doing here?" And you learn that this area that you're in has been like this whole science experiment. So the whole gimmick of the game is in all roguelikes, you're building this, you have to upgrade this. What are you upgrading here? You're upgrading your car. So you have a really rinky-dink car that as the game goes on, you start doing like supplies and you have to pick up a lot of stuff, and then you could start building your car to handle a lot of the elements better, which then what your runs become. So there is a story. I don't think it's nearly as interesting or captivating as Dredges, but I do think the gameplay in this is very interesting. It was kind of a pain in the ass to beat as well. There's a lot of interesting challenges. Basically, after a run, you come back to your garage, you take everything, you fix your car, you do this, you do this, you get all you do, and then you get to your map and you just trek away. And then the further along you go, the more difficult it becomes. And it's a very trippy game, and it's one of those like very unique games that even though it was a pain in the ass, I'm glad that I beat it. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. My game of the year, Skate Story. I beat that. What if I just didn't beat it? And I was like, it's my game of the year. Love this game. Soundtrack is amazing. It is super just there's just a vibe that this game gives you that just does not let go, and it's so unique and inventive. And I did a multi-part playthrough of this on Channel BK as well. Check it out. So I
You're
believe
welcome.
this is the official, well, there's old games that are I still have to talk about, but this is my official 2026 game. Mio, Memories in Orbit. I really liked the artwork. It was on the Game Pass page, it's coming soon. And I said, what is this? Unfortunately, it was kind of a lackluster game, but I still really liked it. It's a Metroidvania, and you're this little creature on a spaceship, and it's stunning. It is gorgeous. The colors and the things that it introduces to the Metroidvania genre is really unique, but it was also certain things about it that I just didn't connect to as much. And it was cool. I do think it is a game you should play though, because I think it is definitely one of the better games I played this year. Unlike my next game, which shockingly I'm like one of like 10 people that loves the first one. Um, but I guess I can't play the first one anymore due to who's involved in that. But he's not in this one. High on Life too. Um, what it was this time around. I don't know why I liked the first one that much. I really did not care for this one. And maybe part of it was just the
You
charm.
love canceled people.
Yeah, the charm of the first one maybe was what it was. And then this one, I'm like, okay. But it wasn't as funny. And I didn't really, I mean, the variation of the guns is really cool. And some of the uniqueness to the levels is cool. It just did not, it just kind of was like a game that I was fine with playing, and it was what it was. However, I'd say probably my game of the year right now, which I don't think is going to stay, but I am confident saying this, and this is another game I multi-parted. Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. Why was this a sequel and why did anyone care? I don't know. But it happened. And let me say, it is pretty damn good. I think, again, it does a lot of stuff in the genre that Limbo kind of made popular that is very unique and interesting, puzzle solving wise. I love the music. The addition to the story is really cool. I will say, spoiler, it does end on a cliffhanger. So we better get a third game at this point. But I think these two games are games that if you just need like a really solid 3 to 5 hour experience, I think they both bring a lot of interesting puzzles and graphics, and the story's very good as well. So I definitely think y'all should check that out. Um, Team Cherry, I'm very sorry. I should have finished your game. I didn't mean to say that Hollow Knight Silk Song was an annoying game. It's pretty damn awesome. It is not a Redux game of the year. I think I would put it somewhere in my runners up. I needed time away. We needed a break. And then when we came back together, I was like, fuck. And what's so funny is like it was like the moment I beat the game, I saw Nakey Jakey put out his video about it, and it almost was just like the same opinion where he's like, there are things in this game that you're like, why the fuck would you do that? And then there's other things where you're like, video games are the greatest art form. Like it's so crazy.
Mhm.
Like I really liked the first one, and this was a meme. This was one of those games that it was never going to come out, and it finally did. And I just remember playing. I got up until the end of the first act, and I said, "I this is not the game for me right now. I need to take a break." And when I got back to it and I played it and I unlocked the secret third act and did all that stuff, I was like, "Okay, I get it. It's a fucking phenomenal game. Like it is gorgeous. The music's fantastic. The upgrade system is great. It's so the same and so unique. I think the storytelling here is great and the map design is amazing. Like I sorry, Team Jerry. I even bought it too, the physical copy. And there's a DLC coming out, I think at the end of the year,
Yeah, it's free.
and it's free, so
And
very
people are
excited.
mad because they want to give them their money.
Exactly. Um, quick one, Hades. Technically, I've already beaten the game, but this is me getting the actual ending because then Hades 2 is coming to Game Pass. So I'm like, well, shit, I gotta actually get the ending to this. So yeah, I got the ending. So there's that. We are gonna go. Oh, I'll have a lot to say because I have 3 more games. These two, I have a lot to say, and it's not positive. Eric knows this game because he knows my opinion on it because I had to tell him my opinion on it, and it has not changed. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be that person. The Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt. And it's DLC because for whatever reason I still played the DLC. First off, let me say this. DLC so much better. So much more interesting. I went into this game and I had to put myself in a time capsule because when we did our Gotti cast, we said from like 2014 to like going into 2017, it was it was rough. It was pretty rough in the video game landscape. And this game was like the most heralded game of 2015, and everyone says how great it is. And here's the thing. Even if it's a game like I see Skyrim, people say how great Skyrim is. I have not really played it like that yet, but I can understand the appeal. There are 2 things in this game that I feel like would hook me: the story, the gameplay, neither of which did anything for me. I thought the story was so like just basic. It was what you would expect. The whole Geralt of Rivia, like him being such a monotone character is not my problem. I actually got used to it and he is very interesting and he's performed very well. But God, it's like, yeah, oh, that's when this thing happened. Okay, this is this beat. Oh, we're gonna do the whole game is going to an area. Hey, I'm trying to find my apprentice. Oh, she just left like 2 days ago. Oh, really? Why? Well, you got to do my missions before I tell you. You go off and do their missions. Then you don't even have to finish their storyline, which I thought was stupid. You're halfway through their storyline. They go, okay, we're going to tell you what happens. Cut to a flashback. Okay, well, you can finish our story if you want, but you don't have to. Okay, bye. What? Problem is, you kind of do have to finish their stories because then there's a whole end game thing where if you, it's like Mass Effect 2, where you have to do everybody's side missions so then they all show up and they all don't die. And it's so like, what? Like, and then the gameplay is not really that good. I'm sorry. Like, it's so janky. And I'm not sitting here trying to be a contrarian. I ended up playing it because I was really interested in it. And I stuck with it. I wasn't going to give up. And I'm like, maybe at some point it's going to click. Nope. It never did. And it really didn't click until like the end game, where there was a couple really cool set pieces at the end where I was like, okay, this is cool. But story wise, it's just blah. It is what it is. Sort of like our next game, Mixtape.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Erik kind of knows my opinion. See, my problem really wasn't the story. My problem is it is so ill like constructed. I think it is so janky and the pacing is terrible. Artful Escape, I think, is a great game. I'm so glad Erik introduced me to it. Reason why, it's a personalized story and it actually feels like it's like a set piece, then a set piece. Yeah, it's a walking simulator. But there's stuff that happens where it's not about the gameplay, it is about the writing and like what you choose to be.
It's an
This,
existential crisis.
I don't care that the characters are annoying. None of that matters. And I actually think all the sequences, like the little mini game stuff, I actually thought they were cool. I was like, okay, like this is sort of inventive for a walking simulator like this. But I just love the whole, they act like we don't know about anything that's going on in their lives, so they have to explain it. So like the whole game is the whole premise is it's the end of summer and you're all going to move on after high school. So you have to find booze. But the whole structure is you go to one house and you just awkwardly, yeah, remember when you got that golden glove in the baseball game? Like they've never talked about this before, a day in their life. And then you go to a flashback of it. And it's like, okay. And then you cut back. Oh, remember the part where you had your first kiss? And then you got that meme. You got that. That's the whole game. There's no fluid motion. It's like the thing that cracks me up so much is like the whole game is like we need to know these things, but they could have done it in a way where it's like instead of it being like them acting like we don't know, it could have been you're looking for booze. Oh, booze isn't here. Man, that golden trophy is sick. Yeah, that I can't believe you got that. Then it goes to the baseball minigame. The way they talk is so like they've never had a conversation about any of this stuff a day in their life. But remember the part where we were in the shopping cart going away from the police? Like that's the whole fucking game. And I'm like, oh my God, this is annoying. I will say, and Erik knows, I won't spoil this. And I know he's probably going to think it's corny. I'm not going to say, I cry. The ending, the gameplay button mechanic, and the legit final seconds of the game genuinely had a small, like, it affected me in the way where none of this game affected me. Like the way that they give you the control for what you do. And then I knew what was going to happen. And then it prompted, and I went, that actually kind of works. Only emotion I got the entire game. Only slither of emotion because it actually
3 hours later.
yeah, 3 hours later. And it's the only part of the game where I'm like, see, that gameplay gimmick worked for the story. And it's corny,
Agree?
but I'm okay with it. But like, I don't relate to any of that stuff. So that's also part of why everyone went crazy for it. And I'm like, I never did any of that. I stayed at home and played video games. Or was that like a band concert? That was my high school experience. So I wasn't out fucking drinking all the time and yeah, sick, bro. I never talked like that either. But yeah, I know it's from the 90s, um but yeah, that's just it is what it is. But my final game of
The year.
the year. I haven't. I was gonna say, yeah, it's been a few weeks since I've beaten this again. It's been a mix of like us getting back into Rascal University and stuff, to where I haven't beaten anything in a bit. Hades 2.
There it is.
Hades 2. I want to start off by saying I'm not gonna spoil this, but Erik probably knows what I'm talking about. The thing about this game when I was playing it was, yeah, it's Hades. But it does something that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom does, where just like with Breath of the Wild, Hades, they are those games. The sequel comes out, and you're like, yeah, it's the sequel. But then it does this thing where it shows a part of the game and it goes to a part of the game that you're like, it's like the most dumb, ingenious thing that I go, okay, that makes the game better. How I felt about Tears of the Kingdom when it happened, I went, oh my God, this changes everything. Same thing with Hades too. Like, and it's so dumb, but it's the truth. Like when it happens, I'm like, oh my God, this changes everything. But it's such a simple thing, and it made the game a lot better. And there's obviously the game is mainly the same game, but they change it. So instead of looking at the mirror, which has a great implement, by the way, that's all I'll say, the mirror and it's like the very specific things you upgrade. This time it's you can't just have all the upgrades. You only have a certain amount of like life. What is it called? Like life source or something like that. It's some name like that where it's you can only have a certain amount of an upgrade and all the upgrades have different numbers and
Mhm.
it goes up. So it's a little more strategic. I think they change things up enough in this game where it doesn't feel like for me, Hades 1, I kind of did the same thing every playthrough. I knew what I needed to do and it was what it was. I think the weapons are a lot more interesting in this. I think the way you do upgrades is a lot more interesting. Um the story, it was cool until you really start to know what is about to happen and then it's like, "Oh, and it does a thing that I don't like really, a general thing that is done in movies that actually works because it doesn't feel like because it speaks on the first game, it speaks on this game. It's a very meta thing too that I like. Um, and it's one of those things where when Erik kind of talked about it in the Gotti cast, when he was saying how, like it's interesting where they're going to go from here. I hope this is it, mainly because, again, it's one of those things where Supergiant was like a pretty popular indie dev, and then Hades came out, and that's been their identity. So I'm hoping they're now like, okay, cool. Hades 2, it's out. We're doing all the things that we're doing. We're moving on from it. Uh,
Bastion 2.
yeah, Bastion 2. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. Just gonna go to another sequel of another old property. But no, I really enjoy this game. There's things about it I dislike more than Hades 1, but then there's other things that I like about it. And again, that whole mechanic that's so dumb because it's just like, well, what if we do it like this? It's like, yeah, that's stupid. It's awesome though, and it changes the whole game. So, no, I feel very proud of the amount of games that I've played. Again, I feel like the show has sort of developed into just even new games we're playing.
Mhm.
I will say I'm in the middle of again, I'm playing Forza Horizon 6. I want to start Diablo 2. I have been playing Star Fox on Switch 2. Um, so, and there's a couple other games that I want to get going with. I want to jump back into Absolem, which again, we did a video on. I've been playing again. I used to do a ongoing games, but I decided because it just feels like it's never that many. And plus, it was just my excuse to talk about X Defiant and High Guard. Uh,
They didn't even talk about High Guard.
no, and I didn't talk about nope, I didn't talk about High Guard. I have been playing a lot of 33 Immortals. 1.0 is out. It's really good. Spoiler. That's another video. Oh, it's not a spoiler though, Brian. Um, So there's that. We're returning to 33 Immortals in the near future. What games have you all been playing? What backlog games have you been trying to get back to, and what newer games have you been playing? Leave it all in the comments below. Like, comments, subscribe. Check out our last RascCast where we talked about all the stuff we liked at Summer Games Fest, and also our first RascCast where we sort of, run down what Rascal
Shoot the shit.
University is. Again, Rascal University, it's the rebrand of the Warren Rascals. If you like us, join us, subscribe. We would really love it. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff. Is
Yeah.
Erik gonna end up having more games beaten than me next time? Maybe. He
Yeah,
just
when we
wanted to
talked.
show off for the first time because he felt like it was his idea. I gotta show up. And then after he said, that's all, Brian wanted to keep going with it. I'll leave it to him.
Well, the next one you wanted to do was like 4 months later. I was like, I've beaten like 2 games.
And it's like, hey, man, but that's fine.
And
'Cause then you
then
can
this
talk
time you
about
said,
each of them
fine,
for
we'll wait.
45 fucking minutes.
Yeah, then you said, this time I'll wait about a year, a little over a year. And I was
Well,
like, that's
also
fair.
the channel, we stopped doing videos for the channel. So then I was like, okay, well, we have to start with this. We
And we
have
did.
we've had
Joke's on you.
we've had stress about backlog stuff too, and we've had conversations, which might be a RascCast episode in the future as well. So that'll be a whole separate thing that we talk about. Um,
Potentially.
yeah. Do you have anything else you would like to say?
Baloney.
Just that?
You said if I had anything else to say, you didn't say it had to be about the topic.
Well, I expected more than one fucking word.
Fine, baloney sandwich.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.